Val Verde it's been a home for us. It's such a beautiful place to raise family. We've been happy in this place. Never been so happy in California.
Oh, y pues tú conoces todos los cerros y jugando con los morenitos en el río.
We used to live across from the park, so there's the wash that's in between the park and our house. Mm-hmm. So they would sometimes see me running. For me, growing up in this community, we were able to run the hills and go to the park with no worries because everybody knew who we belonged to. We all look out for each other.
Calm and just peaceful. Lots of mountains, farmland, horses and chickens.
This baby was born July 4th. So we named him Louis Armstrong because Louis Armstrong was also born July 4th.
When we first got this property, we had no animals. And then at school, one of the teachers says, hey, can you come and take these 6 chickens off my hands? They were a blast. The chickens are unique, they have personalities. But over the last 2 years, tumors and cancers and breathing problems, they started dying. It's scary out here because if the animals are dying, then we're being affected too.
Unfortunately, the reason I know the community and a lot of our newer neighbors are getting to know each other is because people are having to deal with the landfill issues and attending a lot of community meetings related to the harm that's being caused by the landfill.
Hey everybody, welcome to the landfill task group.
I only just learned last week that they're starting to drill in the landfill. They said it was gonna be today. The landfill is specifically saying the odors are gonna get worse. What does the odors mean to us as a community?
Gases.
Poisonous gases.
Is there any way they can clean this up?
Larry Israel said the best case scenario he's ever seen for his research for similar, because none of them are exactly this. Similar was 2 years. It's very common, it's 10.
Top story tonight, after thousands of complaints for more than a year, the EPA now issuing a violation to the owners and operators of the Chiquita Canyon Landfill in Castaic.
Growing up, the issue with the landfill was it really wasn't a bother because there was no odors, no anything.
When we bought this house 15 years ago, we didn't even know about the landfill. Everything, the surrounding mountains, green mountains in the area are really nice. You can't tell there's such danger right behind those hills.
When I first began to notice the landfill, it was approximately 7 years ago. And just going to work in the mornings, I could smell something. And I didn't know, exactly what it was. I just knew that I smelled something kind of foul. And then slowly but surely, a couple of years have passed by, and now I could smell it going into Val Verde. It was probably about 3 years ago that I started to smell it at my home.
It's kind of nasty. It's very nasty to mention how the smell it is because it's a mixing of chemicals and toilet waste.
We only knew about the landfill when we were in closing with escrow. And we had already signed all the papers. And then she said, oh, by the way, there's a landfill. And we went, what? At that moment, we said, well, we would like out of the deal. And she opened her drawer. She pulled out first the newspaper article. Oh, it's a contract. They're closing. It's guaranteed.
And for so many of these people, they were told this landfill is going to close. It's not a big deal. Yes, you might have to put up with it for a number of years. Maybe there'll be some bad smells. But they never contemplated being in the situation that they're in now, where they're in serious risk for their health.
When I first heard about the expansion, like myself, the community, everybody was very upset. We didn't want this because they had agreed that they were going to shut down.
When I moved in, you couldn't see it when you drove in. When you drive in now, you can see the landfill. You can see the landfill, and you can see the covering where they're trying to stop the stench and the gases.
That's when the community started to get together, and we all started sharing stories about our experiences with the odors, noticing that a lot of people in the community were getting sick.
Every state of the nation, every state has at least one landfill. There's 2,600 active and closed landfills in the country, and they are one of the biggest contributors of methane. Methane itself is not harmful to human health, although at very high levels it is explosive. But it's also a carrier gas. So what can go along for the ride are very toxic pollutants like volatile organic chemicals, benzene, vinyl chloride, and those have known health impacts.
I think that what's happening now with the gases coming out of the landfill, they're now have a significant amount of hazardous waste that's being handled by the landfill operators. It's being treated there. We can see from monitors in the community that there are more gases.
And then this here is our purple air monitor, 4 feet above the ground, like they require. And I think we got 12 of them, and we put them on people's houses. They can actually look at a map over like a couple months and see how many times it was too dangerous, over how long. My meter registers 1,500 sometimes. So I'm above the 1,000 a lot, which is, they say above 500, you should be shutting your doors, running air filters, don't go outside, it's dangerous. And I'm over 1,000 most of the time. I think about 6.5 years ago, maybe 7, I walk outside. The moment I walk out, the stench is the worst I've ever smelled. And it hit me and my heart it just stayed there. So I finally drove to Kaiser. They gave me 2 shots to stop the heart. Just to stop it, neither one took. But the nurse made a comment. She said, wow, this is all we're getting today. And it was packed. That affected me. I was like, wow, this is all they're getting. And then for whatever reason, the heart finally went under control. I think it's that I had enough hours away. Later on, at our public meeting, someone in town comes up, his name is Jason, goes, were you in the hospital? Yeah, he goes, I was 2 beds from you. I could hear you. I was in there because my heart was racing. We were in for the same exact thing.
So we conducted 2 health surveys. Headaches in both surveys are over 80%.
Headaches.
You get these vision headaches where you can't see.
Nausea is really high.
Nausea, headaches.
Nauseous.
Difficulty breathing.
Nightly coughs and wheezing, issues with asthma. I'm on 2 inhalers every day and a nightly pill.
Brain fog at 48%.
I had really bad anxiety, feeling paranoid.
Depression.
Depression, insomnia.
I would break out in rashes, and they couldn't figure out what the rashes were.
And the itching. People are itching in town constantly, and all these are related.
And certainly in this year, we're hearing more people reporting the same symptoms, but also people are saying that their symptoms are getting worse.
Well, yeah, this obviously wasn't my life 15 years ago. It's been getting to this point 5 years already, all this medication. If nothing has been done at the landfill, this is gonna have to be like this, and it's probably gonna get worse.
This is my life. This is twice a day, all these medications for the rest of my life. And sometimes they can't get under control and they can't give me more medications because this is the max. That's gonna be forever.
The symptoms are all very similar. We did a meeting recently with community members, meeting with the EPA, and we were able to meet with not just community members here being affected by the Chiquita Canyon Landfill, but also landfills across the country. The people that are in Louisiana, the people that are in Oregon that have to deal with the landfills there, they could be describing being right next to our landfill. It's extremely similar, the symptoms that people quickly have. And I mean, these are common symptoms for air quality problems like this and the exposures to the chemicals that we're being exposed to.
Frankly, the regulations that are on the books, the minimum requirements that some larger landfills have to follow are simply weak. They're outdated. It's very clear that a number of landfills are trying to incorporate the latest practices, install gas collection systems earlier, put on better cover, but unfortunately, it's like extra credit. And we know that certainty and having rules of the road that are clear for everyone is really important for any regulated industry. And most important, every community should be able to expect the same level of protection. It shouldn't be voluntary to control for harmful emissions.
It's a serious concern that residents have that this has been allowed by LA County to continue, especially when we know how harmful the impacts are and we know they're well aware that residents are suffering. The real issue is that there are many parts of the conditional use permit that say the landfill cannot operate under these conditions and that the county can shut them down. However, the county is refusing to do so.
They know there's an issue. They know that there's an issue. There are multiple complaints. You don't just get complaints and not recognize that there's a problem.
So one of the big selling points of the house when we first moved here was there was an extra quarter acre. This is the extra quarter acre that was thrown in with the house. We don't come here at all. We don't come up here at all. In fact, we even have it so we don't even see it from our window because it's so depressing. So we've actually blocked it completely off. You know, that's a good question. Well, how come I'm not leaving? That's a very good question. You got to sell the house. Then there's a moral issue. I got to tell the people moving in that, hey, you got kids. You're putting them at risk.
Look at my trees.
Which red thing is that?
Those are nectarines.
No way.
I have 3 nectarine trees. Liz, by this time, every year, we've picked them already.
Right.
But now, we can't go out. We put our whole life savings into this home thinking that this was gonna be our forever home. We're gonna retire. My husband's almost at the point for retirement. And we can't afford to get up and leave.
We used to have great times out there. Now it's all abandoned, it's all dirty. It's all being there, nasty. We can't go out there anymore. It's a shame. Such a beautiful area, but you can't enjoy it. What we need is not sold. Then we're gonna have to move. We wouldn't want to move. This is being a nice area. It's still a nice area. If it wasn't for the landfill, still a nice area.
I had to make a very difficult decision to walk away from my home so that my health could improve. I could do something to improve my health. And the fortunate thing about it is my health is improving. I never planned to have to leave my home. And so I literally really had nowhere to go but here to my son's house. And as you can see, the space is limited. But I choose this over not being healthy.
We're hoping that at the end, local authorities and environmental agencies do something to stop it.
Unfortunately, Chiquita Canyon is just one of many examples of how the system is broken. It's not delivering results for communities to keep people safe. There are actually common sense solutions that a number of states have already implemented. We're just not seeing it in every community.
The EPA, their regulations aren't enough to protect us. We need more protection.
My plan for retirement was to live in my home. I've been retired now for 3 years, and I don't live in my home.